Hello everybody, it's Nikki again. So today's episode is untitled as of now because I still don't know what I'm going to be talking about. However, there's been a lot going on in the last week, and I realized that the more I'm talking to you, the more things I got to say about just everything, various situations. There are a lot of people, there are very few people in my life, but I get so many lessons from them. So I think I mentioned in previous podcasts that I tend to learn through other people's mistakes, and I'm almost feeling like I should open my email address and start posting that, dropping it in my descriptions for people to come and tell me their stories if they want to get an episode around their particular situation, or how to act in that kind of circumstance and stuff like that. It's really interesting. I get to learn so much and reflect. So whatever my friends and everybody who's in my life is my friend right now, because there's so very few of them. Every friend has their own story, and I can help them through a reflection of my own experiences and knowledge and the wisdom that I channel sometimes, or a lot of times, that, as I said, is not mine. It just comes through me, but everything is channeled through my experiences. So the advice I can give is still through my perspective. It's really interesting. I don't know, I may open something like that just to create more and more episodes. I don't know. What I want to talk about today is one of the things that I posted was about growth. The quote I posted was, "A commitment to growth is a commitment to risk, courage, faith, strength, hope, and the willingness to make mistakes, get back up, and try again." And that's quote by Christine Kane. And I posted that on my Instagram, on the story with the song by Pink called "Try." It's particularly the part where she says, "Just because it burns doesn't mean you're gonna die. You gotta get up and try. So I think what I want to talk about today is how we feel discouraged when something that we put so much time and effort to does not deliver the expectations, doesn't deliver to our expectation, and how important it is to keep trying when something like that doesn't work. So the reason why this episode will still be under Claim My Energy Back is because we lose so much energy and we give away so much of our light and our strength and our resources to the expectations. What you got to understand is that there's only this much that's within your control. So there's a formula for manifestation. The formula is set your intention, take action, and leave the rest to the universe. And that's how you manifest something. A lot of people, and we are taught and programmed to think that whatever we want, we have to work so hard for it. We just have to put so much energy in it. It's gonna take months and years. If you want that promotion, you're gonna have to work 15 years in the same role to really prove yourself, to be at the top of your game. You need to turn up in the office. If you're not in the office, you need to put your camera on, you need to play the social game, you need to play the corporate ball, you need to do this and that to always be visible. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted of all of that faking and all of that trying, as if you're just never enough. Whatever you do, you're never enough. And even, if it's gonna take this long, even if you know that you're just gonna have to suck it up for, let's say, 6 months, I need to be like this every single day, turn up and be that happy, jumping little furry ball of joy for everybody to notice me and to like me and be the social butterfly. And really make sure that these people at the top can see my name, that I'm talking, whatever I'm saying in those calls, as long as I'm making my voice heard, they're gonna remember me. I'm gonna planting these seeds in their heads, and next time they're gonna need something, they're gonna come to me because I showed my voice, I showed my face. Oh my god, how exhausting is that? How much energy are you wasting there on something so fragile? Because when you set your expectations, let's say in this situation, you work in a corporate environment, you have the goal that in 6 months, in your PDP, in your personal development plan, you put in 6 months, I'm going to be there, I'm going to apply for that role in that area, and I want to change my direction, blah blah blah, so therefore I'm now taking on this task and that task, and I'm attending these meetings, and I'm making myself visible and heard, and I do my networking, and I'm just going completely out of my way to get that job. Okay, so let's say it's 5 months and 29 days in the 31-day month on your plan, on your 6-month plan, right? You've got 2 days left, you're so close to your goal. Boom, comes drop into your mailbox saying, we're changing, there's some huge reorganizational changes, we're getting rid of that department. It no longer exists, we're restructuring this and that, we're merging this, we're getting rid of this many people, these roles will no longer exist, these people are this team is going to report to that person, this team is going to report to that person, boom boom boom, massive reshuffle in the reorganization. And the place where you were working so hard to transition to no longer exists, because corporate decision has been made out of your control. And you were killing yourself for 6 months straight, trying to impress somebody who's got sacked probably through that reorg. Because if it was someone good, it would probably, that's the usual. No pun intended. I didn't lose one, really good managers through that, but whatever. So, what do you do then? Just because it burns doesn't mean you're gonna die, right? You're not gonna die, you still got your existing job, you're bitter, you're gonna bitch about it for a few weeks, a month, 2 months, maybe 6 months, just to balance out, put 6 months of effort, now I'm gonna bitch about it for 6 months. It depends how big your ego is, that might happen. You may even double the time. Hell, why not? They disappointed me, fuck it, I'm just gonna talk shit for the rest of my life. The thing is that gonna help? No. So have your efforts been wasted? You may feel like that in the moment, right? That you wasted all of your time and energy. Why was I doing this? Blah 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 blah. Well, you were doing all of this, and what's the point? I will never do this. Fuck it. I'm just gonna come in, turn up, do my job, and 9 to 5, and then log off, and I don't give a flying fuck about what happens to the company anymore. They disappointed me. Boom 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 boom, and I hate my job. Fuck it. So you may even start underperforming in your own job with that kind of attitude, which just opens a whole new set of can of worms. If you please don't do that. Please, be nice to yourself to start with. If you're gonna start feeling like it's all shit, it wasn't worth it, blah 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 blah, that's the kind of energy that you put on yourself. You're telling yourself you're a loser in the situation, when the real situation is the company lost a talent. They've done this reorg, right? And if you made yourself visible to enough people, you may be lucky and get dragged into that new structure. If you haven't though, just try and, shut off all the noise. My biggest advice to any of you at any point in your life when you feel like everything's out of control and everything's not going your direction and you don't know where to go, everything just feels like a massive tornado of just chaos, and whatever expectations you have or whatever efforts you put, nothing ever goes right. The reason why it's like that is because that's what you think. So even if you set your intentions now that everything is going to be fine and I'm going to get it, blah, 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 you still have that planted in your head, that fear, and you're almost setting up yourself for failure. You're doing it, but you're not fully believing in it. You're going into it and you're putting everything, especially if you're in UK, that's a cultural thing to even say it out loud, to say, I'll give it a go and see how it goes. I'm sure it's going to be shit anyway. I'm sure something is going to happen and blow. It's like a joke, but people say that out loud very, very often, and they don't even realize that. They think it's a cultural thing. I don't think they even think anything about it. That's how they talk. But it's almost a norm to speak like that. It's a really, really bad habit to have, because what you speak out, what you vibe out to the universe, that's what you get back. So if you're telling the universe you're gonna fail, that's what you're gonna get, because it's all a boomerang. Like, dude, stop talking down on yourself. In that situation, the reorg happened, your dream role is gone, but guess what? For 6 months, when you look at it, when you zoom out of the whole chaos, and that's my advice, just zoom the fuck out of all of that. Just try to have this parachute view of what's happening, and even without looking at what's happening, what your new potential avenues are and stuff. Even if you don't look at that, if you just take a step back, zoom out, and just look at how much effort you put in, what have you learned from it, so to reflect. So while you were learning and doing all of those things, you were only focused on what they're gonna bring into that new role that you want, right? Now that role is out of equation. However, all of the growth and effort that you put in yourself during that time, everything you did to challenge yourself, to make yourself better, to make yourself fit or the best candidate for that role, right? That's not wasted. You've still grown through this experience, right? And yet the role got snatched out of your sight. It's no different than if somebody else would have gotten the role. It wouldn't hurt any less, would it? But it's almost, then at least you would have had a chance to go to an interview and prove yourself, and then someone else was better. But when they completely, you would feel like at least you tried. And in this example, you didn't even get the chance to try. You put so much effort and the whole thing got snatched out of your sight. You know what I mean? So it's almost worse in your head, isn't it? But this is when you waste your energy, focus on the chaos, right, of the whatever happened. You focus on the expectations, on the norms. So expectation is that you're going to be upset. Expectation is that you're going to kick off. Your manager will probably come and talk to you and try to calm you down, and you're going to be, fuck it, blah, 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 blah. That's the expectation. That's why you're reacting like this. So imagine if in that situation something like that happens, and you just go back to the drawing board and reassess what you have. Okay, so through this, what have I learned? What have I started? What have I done differently? How much have I grown? What can I do instead with my new skill set, with my new attitude, with my newly found confidence that, if I was ambitious enough to apply for that role, what else is there that I can apply for? What else can I do with my skill set? Maybe I can leave the company by myself if they're just, sacking people for no reason or getting rid of departments. What are the options that my current department is not going to be snatched like this? Maybe I should leave the company. Maybe I should go to completely different direction. So in that situation, the best thing to do is to see how much you've grown. Just reassess the situation. If you have PDP, go and update that with your reflections as well. That's going to be a really good thing to do if you wish to stay, right? So I've done this. It could even become one of your examples when you go to the next interview. I've put so much effort and something like this happened. But then if you deal with it the right way, it could become one of your strengths and one of your competitive advantages. So if you're gonna, it depends. So a lot of things happen in our lives that we have no control of. We always have control of how we respond to those things that happened around us, to us, right? It's all about how we respond. So this whole tragic and sad situation could be flipped upside down if you just look at how much you've grown, what have you learned, and what can you do with it. What else is there? How else can I use these skills? And especially if you're going to go somewhere completely different than you originally thought you were going to go, this whole change of perspective could be your biggest and greatest competitive advantage when it comes to interviewing for other jobs, because you can demonstrate that resilience, that flexibility, maturity, if you like. You can flip it. You can flip the coin on its tail, basically, in this whole situation. And that's exactly how you would claim your energy back from some negative situation. And it's not just at work, obviously. I just chose a work example because I do talk a lot about relationships, and it's almost, claiming your energy back from all the narcissists. It's not just the relationships, but it's also not just work situations, and it's not always about corporate jobs, right? But I'm just talking about the examples in my environment. So I suppose it goes back to, from relationship perspective, it goes back to all of the previous episodes where I was talking about how whatever people are used to getting from you, when you cut them off, to claim your energy back, how does that affect them? How does that affect their expectations on you? Everybody gets really upset, right? When it comes to people. In the work situation, when you flip your whole perspective, it becomes your strength. So there's a difference between work and work situations and relationship situations. The same kind of action would get a completely opposite reaction in a relationship. If something bad happened to you and you took a positive approach and you looked at, what can I learn from this? What can I do from that? You would get judged. In a work situation, you would get praised for that kind of resilience. It's interesting, isn't it? Only now thought about it. It is kind of, there are some things that you can apply in both work and life and relationship scenarios, but there are some things that are going to be just completely opposite. And we discussed a lot about the relationships and how you claiming your energy back will get people upset, and you may even lose people, whereas in the work environment, you flipping like this could only be your strength. In either situation, whether it's work or relationship, the key is not to fuck up where you are, basically. Be true to yourself. So if you're completely, in the work example, if you're completely changing your perspective into a more positive one, even if you choose to be that negative cunt, who just stays bitter for a year and does nothing about it and just thinks everything's wasted and their life sucks. Even if you feel like that, try and not fuck up the situation that you're in, because you still have to live, right? You still have to pay your bills. Don't fuck up the job that you have. And in relationships, if you're flipping on somebody, don't burn all the bridges. It doesn't mean that, if you live with a narcissist and you finally claim your energy back, you can, maybe you want to go and swear at that person and just tell them everything to their face and punch them, and just don't get a restraining order. Don't end up in jail. Don't smash windows. Don't cut off all of your family, their family, all the friends and everything, and just go, fuck it, it's all your fault. You're all idiots. I'm just the only one having this epiphany. You're all takers. Fuck it. I don't need anyone. I'm just gonna go in the woods somewhere in the mountains and be this hermit. I don't need anyone in my life. Can you please just be reasonable in every situation? That's where that zooming out comes in. So when you feel like you're getting angry, like you're getting upset, you're getting stressed, you're getting anxious, there's one really good tip that I can give you, is the breathing exercise that I learned during my breakdown. Actually, I think one of the therapists said, when you start feeling like everything's spiraling out of control, the best thing to do is the breathing exercise of breathing in for 5 seconds, holding it for 5 seconds, and then breathing out for 7 seconds. So you breathe in, and in case you don't know, because many people don't, when you breathe in, your belly should rise, and then you hold at the top of your throat. You hold your breath at the top of your throat for 5 seconds, and then you breathe out for 7, and then your belly goes flat, right? Belly out, hold, belly down. Okay, do that 3 times when you're completely panicking and anxious, or when when you're getting angry. Everybody says count to 5 or count to 10. Just breathe. Breathing is the key. You can count whatever. You can count 1,000,000. If you want to punch somebody, you're gonna punch somebody if you're holding your breath, right, while you're angry and while you're anxious, or if you're taking shallow breaths, because when you get angry you just go that just raises your heart rate, and the key is to lower your heart rate. Then especially when you're having a panic attack, it's all about the biggest panic is that my heart is pumping. What if it's gonna stop? What if it's gonna pop out of my chest and stuff? The key is to stop your heart rate from rising. So you're feeling angry and you're feeling anxious, you're going I'm gonna punch somebody. Oh my goodness, your jaw is clenched and everything, and you just wanna do some damage in some way to something or somebody. If you just breathe in really, really deeply, and then you hold it and you release, and I promise you, after first breath like that, your anger is gonna reduce by at least 40%, and then it's gonna drop more and more and more. 3, I would say don't take any more than 3, unless you have to, because you get dizzy after a few, but it really, really helps, and you will feel immediately after the first one that how your body relaxes. So just try this little tactic. In terms of what you can do to really, really help yourself in situations where something is completely out of control for you, the best thing to do is to just as always in every situation, take some time for yourself, whether it's to do those breathing exercises or to journal or to meditate or to just go somewhere and swear and punch walls, whatever you want to do. Please try not to do that. Don't get aggressive. For God's sake, we're trying to be calm here, you know. No aggression is needed, but I do understand, and you will only get aggressive when you're not dealing with your feelings and emotions. So that's something to think about if you're getting these anger bursts. And even a month ago I was getting like this, and I got home, I was rushing home from somewhere, and it was something completely idiotic like this. It was my day off. I was at the city and I was meant to have this call with somebody, and I got home and I need to connect via Zoom link, and my internet is not working and something is not clicking, or the bloody platform is not working. And I was like getting so angry, so anxious. And when I finally got to that person, no, I didn't actually. I couldn't get to that person. So then I left them a voicemail saying, I don't fucking know what's happening here. You know, I was trying so hard to make it. It didn't work, blah, 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 blah. And then that person didn't call me that day. And I was like completely agitated, and I was hot, and I was rushing, and I was doing everything I can to make it. I finally made it. Boom, internet is not working. The platform is not loading. It's like half an hour call, I'm 15 minutes late already, and I was like, oh my god, it wasn't even, nothing would happen if I didn't make it, but oh my god, it was just, I was so agitated, so irritated. So straight after that, I actually went to have a shower. I washed away all of my anger and frustration, and then I sat down to meditate, and I actually started journaling about it, and I was like, what the hell was that? And you need to start catching out yourself in this situation. What is the root of my irritation, of my anger that caused this anxious reaction, that caused me to get so triggered and so angry out of nowhere? Because I'm pretty much, you know, with all the journaling and all of the meditations and taking time for myself and everything, I'm pretty much steady. Right? But these things, these outbursts keep happening, and I think it was right before my relapse happened. So it was the first, maybe not the first, but it was one of the signs that I'm getting out of balance. I'm losing, my frequency is changing into something. I'm getting triggered by something I shouldn't be, you know. And what is it? Because then if you don't identify the root, there's going to be another thing and another thing and another thing. Everything starts irritating you. So you have to be very careful. I think I'm going to do another episode about that, about finding the root of whatever is irritating you, and how to identify, how to kind of trace back and see what was the actual trigger. So let me end this episode here, and then move all of that analysis to the next episode. I hope this one helped a bit to whoever was freaking out and feeling like everything is out of control, and everything that's happening to them is happening as a punishment. It's not a punishment, it's just what you vibe out into the universe. And the way to claim everything back is to flip the whole situation the opposite direction and see what it taught you. And I think on my post I even said that you need to be willing to grow through your mistakes and see the powerful, beautiful lessons in everything you encounter. Just learn to look at things that don't go your way as lessons, and try to drop your expectations. That would be my advice. We will talk about these things in future episodes, but for now, I'm sending you lots of love and light. Be kind to yourself. Love you, Nikki.